AJ, thank you for the time. And I've been watching you on the phone, trying to catch you for the past hour. Percentage of time where you're actually on the phone with somebody or pretending to be on the phone just to go ahead and just create some gossip.
98% on the phone. When I know Darren wants to talk, that's the 2% that I'm just going with the fake phone call, put it up to the ear.
AJ, we're like a month into the season right now. Just your thoughts generally, just in the first month of the season, playing up the expectations and just seeing what this team is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, like early in the season, it's all about trying to get a feel for the team, and getting into the year. It was a little bit different this year in spring training with the WBC, so we didn't have quite as much time. It's like being around each other and everything like that was a little bit disjointed. So I think we figured going into the season was a little bit kind of let's see how the year gets started. I think we faced some good teams early in the season. I think obviously from our expectations, our own expectations, we think we're capable of playing really good baseball, and we should play that every night. So I think the last weekend in Mexico City, this past road trip, and into last night, into the first game against the Reds, like starting to show some signs of what we're capable of doing. We just want to build on that going into the next month.
I was thinking about you in the front office, that game against Mexico City when you had your 1 through 5 hitters all going yard in the same game. I remember Bogarts after the game. I can't believe it took us this long to get clicking offensively. How about you? I mean, how long have you been waiting to see what this offense can be?
Yeah, no, I think we think highly of the guys in that locker room, and I think, I think every night we feel like we should put a lot of pressure on other teams, and we should score some runs. So I think what we've seen here over the course of this last road trip, especially in Mexico City, and then coming back on Monday, I think we feel like we have a dynamic offense, and it's not just the guys at the top. I think 1 through 9. Seeing some contributions from some guys in the bottom of the lineup, and what Carpenter and Cruz did, I think that should be the norm, and that's what we're looking to do here throughout the year.
How do you put into perspective Soto's first half season? When you take what his numbers since the trade versus this first month, it's been a full half season.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think with Juan, again, he set the bar so high for himself. So I think for all of us, we know he can be as dynamic an offensive force as anybody in the game. We've seen that at different moments in time, over the last few months, but just seeing it consistently every night, that's what he's working to get to. I think he's going to get more and more comfortable, and just being here, San Diego, in the lineup, seeing other great players around him, and I think we're going to start seeing, more of those impactful moments where he's given us, in the playoffs last year, down the stretch last year. I think we're going to start seeing that on a nightly basis here as we go forward.
I do realize all parties have the luxury of time. You have Juan Soto for one more year. Are you open to extension talks during the season? I think his party would be.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it. Every situation's different, every player is different. I think from our standpoint, we're going to respect. We'll have the conversations in the right way. With each player and their agent, and if it makes sense for us and it makes sense for the player, and we want to do it, then we'll engage. If it feels like, hey, Focus wants to be on baseball during the season, then we'll respect that as well. I think right now, we're focused on the year. We're focused on having a big season, and then hopefully we can do something long term with Juan and other players.
Other players like Josh Hader, has that conversation started yet, or wait and see with him?
Yeah, again, I think from a individual negotiation standpoint, we're never going to comment on that, but Josh is he's one of the best in the game at what he does, and I think like we've said, he's fit in incredible in our clubhouse. He's been amazing on the field. Those are the kind of guys you want to be here, and I think we understand that. We want those guys to be here a long time.
There aren't many players like Tatis Jr. in this sport. What has it meant to you to see him the way he's just come on so quickly since his return?
Yeah, I think not that you forget, but I mean it's been a while since we've seen him in the lineup, and he can just impact the game in so many ways. And honestly, as a fan, he's just fun to watch. So I think I think both the impact he'll have on our team, and it started to have just in the last 9 or 10 days, and then just from an enjoyment standpoint, turning on the game and seeing somebody that can do something every night that you haven't seen before, or do something that just gets you on your feet and wants to make you cheer. I think that's a huge part of Fernando and what he brings to our organization, and it's been a lot of fun seeing him back on the field.
You guys were very candid when he had that press conference. Gosh, was it in July when he was just right over there talking about the disappointment, and you wanted to all see him mature? Do you think that you've seen that from him during the course of the offseason and up until this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think he definitely, I think there's been a lot of conversations, with Fernando. I think he understands, like, he made some mistakes, that there are some things, like, from his standpoint, owning up to his responsibilities and understanding that, yeah, he's got to change some things, on and off the field. Obviously, he's, like, the way he went about, like, the conversation on his health, and then, like, what he did more so, and probably more importantly after having those surgeries, the way he attacked the rehab, and, he's come back in a really good spot from that. And again, I think, like, I think the conversation we've had a lot with Fernando, and is that we're all going to make mistakes. Obviously, like, I've made plenty as the general manager of the team and everything like that. But that's what you do. Responding to those mistakes is really what we're looking for as an organization. And I think so far he understands that message, and he's taken the steps to put himself in some better spots.
Difficult was to put Nick Martinez back in the bullpen. It's uncomfortable. He's actually right behind you right now wearing this lovely Joe Musgrove hat. But was that a difficult thing to do, considering how dominant he's been in the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off 7 shutout innings. So I think, like, again, I think from our standpoint, we have a lot of guys in the locker room. They're very talented, but they just want to win. They understand it's about team, and I think the conversations with Nick, I think when we signed him this past off season, like, we think he's a starting pitcher. We think he's a good starting pitcher. But I think early in the year we've had some other guys step up. The way the schedule is just is set up for the next few weeks, I think we determined, like, hey, as a group, that this is a path that can help our team. And I think it just speaks to who Nick Martinez is, why we wanted him here in the organization, why we re-signed him this offseason. He's all about winning. That's the number one thing, and I think he'll contribute every way possible. And if that's in the pen for the next few weeks, so be it. I think the only thing he's asked to just be transparent. We're going to do that with Rob, with Bob and with Ruben and myself. And at that point, like, again, like, there may be a few weeks from now we're asking him to go back in the rotation. I think the best thing is he's capable of doing both at a high level. How
about Ryan Weathers? I know when we spoke when he was here the last homestand, he said the last time this happened to him it was difficult for him, but now he has a better understanding of his role. What do you envision his role to be going forward? Yeah,
I mean, I think with Ryan, again, like, he understands, like, he's. First and foremost, we see him as a starting pitcher. He did a great job here in the first couple of weeks, and I think for us, you can never have enough starting pitching depth. I think we understand we're going to need Ryan, in our rotation. We're going to need him on our staff, and the decision here for us was more about, just the fact that, like, hey, we have, again, the schedule setting up in a way that we have a bunch of off days. We didn't want to get it to, where our guys were getting 7 or 8 days off in between starts. And also for Ryan, we want him to be in a position that, whether he grows in the rotation and climbs up in the rotation ranks, or he's a guy that, in case of an injury or he forces away in the rotation, he's been built up and he's at a spot where, we didn't want to keep him in the pen for too long, and you look up and now it takes him 2 or 3 weeks to get back to where he can throw us 75, 80 pitches in a game. So not the easiest conversation, not the easiest message when you have a player that's performing, say, hey, now you're going to AAA. But I think when he steps back and understands what we're trying to do and why, I think he'll appreciate it more so. Just keep pitching well, because we know we're going to need him, and he's made himself a part of the team.
Has Ha-Seong Kim outplayed your expectations when you first signed him?
I think it's different expectations. I think when we first signed him, I think we thought it was going to be more offensive, and it was going to be like an offensive middle infielder that can play. I think what we've seen is, obviously he keeps getting better and better with the bat, and the defense has been exceptional. So, I think the biggest thing that I think we felt like we were getting, and he's an energy player that brings it every single night. He's a smart baseball player. He's intelligent. He knows the game. He's become obviously a big fan favorite here at Petco. I think because people respect the way he goes about it. So I think that was the part that we kind of had dialed in. Exactly like what was his, how that impact was going to be on the defensive end. We probably underestimated it, honestly. And I think we're seeing last year him go to short, this year move back to second base. So he feels like he's in the middle of the action every night, and he's making plays every game that helps us win a ball game.
Do you plan to bring in any more converted shortstops to this team?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think. I think the infield, so far it's, when you have guys that are, that are capable of playing in the middle of the infield, now they're playing corner spots. You see Manny and Xander and Kim and Crony most nights out there. It's impacted us in the first month of the season. I think we're just hoping to see more of that as the year goes on.
Just one more thing, because I do want to clear this up. I know there were some comments about the Juan Soto and the hitting coaches. Are the hitting coaches trying to change Juan Soto's approach? What's going on? Are you guys on the same page?
Yeah, I didn't ask Juan about the comments. I mean, I read it more of like, Juan honestly just kind of saying, I think Juan saying more of like, yeah, everybody knows that I'm not, performing exactly the level I want to. Like, I just got to go do it. And I just got to go fix it. And he has I think again, I think there's a really good dynamic with our hitting group and with all the hitters. Honestly, I see it every day. I think that's the most of our conversation. We understand the results are going to go up and down, a little bit in baseball, but if the process is good, the conversation's good, the work programs are good. I think those things, what we've seen, those things have been at a high level. I know Juan feels that way, and ultimately, I think good things are going to come from all our group. I think we've started to see it, and anxious to see this offense continue to put runs on the board.
You spent some good time signing a lot of autographs from those kids over there. Who's likely to get a more candid response from you about your players, about free agency? Marty Caswell from San Diego Sports 760. I've known you for all these years, or that 5-year-old kid in the Tatis jersey?
I think every day same kind of answers and responses on all the different questions. But yeah, I think I would rank it 5-year-old Jersey, Marty, and then Darren for sure, with some separation. So
you ruined my lead-off question, which is why I'm asking you at the end, because I plan to interview you in Mexico City. What would have been your go-to? I don't know if you ate tacos, the street tacos, but what's your go-to taco order?
I don't. No ketchup on it. Ketchup on everything else but the tacos and whatnot. No, I'm not a huge I think taco-wise. No, I'm not really no go-to, nothing specific. Kind of hit the shrimp taco. There's nothing really there that I'm hey, I'm not really in that foodie category. It's more go to Mexico, win some games, come back, get ready for the Reds. So.
I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Marty.